President of the United Federation of Labour and representing Unite, a coalition of trade unions and civil society organizations. Yesterday, several trade union representatives, economists, and journalists went to meet a gang of robbers. A gang of robbers who are sitting in an ivory tower called the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. This gang of robbers planned and have almost successfully executed one of the biggest thefts in recent Sri Lankan history in terms of the retirement savings, the money of our workers. Yesterday, when we went to meet this gang of robbers, the head of which is the central bank governor, we did not actually go to meet him yesterday. We asked him for a meeting which he promised to us 2 weeks ago. When we came to protest on the 28th of August, the central bank governor promised us a meeting. He never gave it to us. So we went to remind him of this meeting. Soon after we gave him this letter, few minutes later, he called us for a meeting. So despite the fact that we were not there to meet him that day because there were several of us who came to protest, we did not want to not meet him. So we went ahead and had the meeting. The meeting was quite eye-opening because we raised several things which we wanted to ask from him. We wanted to ask him why was the EPF and ETF funds, why was the workers' savings the only thing which was subjected to domestic debt restructuring while there were so many other options. He did not have a proper answer to that question. Then we asked him, fine, you want to subject the EPF and ETF accounts to domestic debt restructuring. I was saying you're going to reduce 0.5% of the GDP from the revenues of these accounts. Then in another 16 years' time, please tell us in rupees, how much would the loss be on these accounts? The central bank governor refused to tell us how much loss the EPF and ETF accounts would incur if this domestic debt restructuring goes through. He spoke great words about market sensitivity, debt sustainability, and so on. But this great central bank governor who has executed, who had made this package, who has created this package of great robbery and have almost successfully executed it, is refusing to tell us how much the EPF and ETF funds, how much the loss the EPF and ETF funds will suffer. So you can imagine the devastation this is going to cause to the working people. But we gave a number. We gave a number and said it will be close to 5 trillion rupees in the next 16 years. And he had no response to that. Because he is refusing to tell us exactly what the number is. But we are saying it will be close to 5 trillion Sri Lankan rupees. The other thing, what was very interesting and revealing about this meeting is that, as you know, the domestic debt the package which was created by the central bank governor was between subjecting the EPF and ETF accounts to domestic debt restructuring or to subject the profits or revenue of these superannuation funds to a 30% taxation. So the package is like the option between the devil and the deep blue sea. So yesterday, when the central bank governor was speaking about this, he was talking as if the taxation bill, the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill, has already been passed. Now, far as I know, I don't know whether the central bank governor has other information. Far as I know, the debate is the bill is being debated in Parliament today, and the Parliament is yet to pass it. But the central bank governor was talking yesterday as if this bill has already become law. So then, the obvious question which we want to raise, the society at large, is we pride ourselves in this so-called checks and balances, separation between the executive and the legislature, and so on. But there seems to be no separation between the executive and the legislature, the central bank, the president, the government, the parliament. All seems to be together in this action, this united action of robbing the working people of Sri Lanka. All seem to be together. So it's very interesting, right? The package was created by the package to rob the people was created by the architect of it was the central bank governor. And then he puts it to the government puts it to parliament, the parliament pretends as if it's accepting this proposal, or it's putting it back to the central bank governor, pretending as if it's making this offer to the central bank governor, who is the architect of this great robbery. So the what I want to what so telling in yesterday's meeting was that we were meeting the central bank governor, but the act of robbing the working people of this country under the guise of getting this country out of debt, under the guise of so-called debt sustainability, is done by the entire state structure, and that was very telling yesterday. The central bank governor asked us now, everyone is criticizing, but no one has alternatives. So we proposed alternatives, which we have already done several times. The central bank governor should read more. I suppose he does not have time to read because he's drafting packages to assist the government in robbing people. But we gave certain alternative proposals. We said, for instance, in front of the COPE committee, the Inland Revenue came and said that nearly 904 billion rupees there is tax evasion. So completely cancel the bonds of the tax evaders. Now the central bank governor will not do that because who are these bondholders? Who are these tax evaders? Are his friends, the political and the business elite. So he is not going to do that. Then we said, last year the unions were saying there were 53 billion US dollars, according to Vijayadas Rajapaksa, which has been stashed in offshore accounts through something called this transfer pricing and misinvoicing. So what have you done about this? Have you even done an audit on it? To that also the central bank governor made some technical arguments, which was once again disproved by our economist Dhanusha Gihan Patirana. But he made certain very, very flimsy arguments, but he was unable to say anything to that. And finally we said, this money which was borrowed, you're saying this is sustainability, but this money which you had, which is burden on us, this is not a debt we incurred. This is not a debt which was incurred by the working people. This was a debt which was incurred by the Rajapaksas when they were in power in the international sovereign markets by international creditors who knew who they were lending the money to, because their own documents in the US court documents say this, that they knew that they were lending it to the Rajapaksas who were not using it for the benefit of the people. So on the face of their own documents, this is an odious debt. Have you spoken to, have you demanded an international audit on this odious debt? The government or the central bank has not done this. So we are in a state of crisis. We are in a state of economic crisis. The central bank and the government wants to be the stooges of the IMF and the international creditors, and we don't expect anything from them. We have given credible alternatives of what can be done to the central bank governor and the government, but they have decided to ignore it. That is okay. They are stooges of the IMF and the international creditors. They want to see this package through, no matter if Sri Lanka, if the society disintegrates and falls apart and people dies of starvation, they don't care. But what are we going to do? Today, the parliament is debating the Inland Revenue Amendment Bill, where if it passes today, if the EPF and ETF accounts are not subjected to DDR, there will be a imposition of 30% taxation. And that is the weapon which the central bank governor is going to use to subject the EPF and ETF accounts to DDR. So we request all of you, we did an Aragali last year, we said we wanted system change. The system keeps rolling. If you are against it, you don't have to be part of a trade union or a civil society organization or a mass movement. If you are against the theft and robbery of ordinary people's money, protest this. Protest this bill, protest this DDR. You can come out on the street as an individual, as collectives, as friends, as families, as trade unions, as organizations, anything you want. But show your dissent, show your protest, because this is the biggest robbery which the government is going to commit on us while we watch it happen. Daylight robbery is going to happen. So I urge you to protest and show your dissent to this. Thank you.